Hi, this is Shadi, and today we will be discussing the legendary Waldemar Santana, someone that I'm sure a lot of you have heard of, going up against some of the greatest in the history of Jiu-Jitsu and Judo, people like Carlson Gracie, Elio Gracie, and of course the legendary Masahiko Kimura. This video I will be discussing his upbringing, him joining the Gracie Academy, and of course the reasons that possibly caused his expulsion from the academy, and how he went up against the Gracie brothers and Kimura. So there's a lot of reasons, and they are all up for debate, and this was possible thanks to today's sponsor, Josh Simon. Josh Simon is a second-degree black belt under Helson Gracie himself, and he is currently a professor at Gracie, Ohio. With a passion for history, Josh decided to come up with his own line of t-shirts dedicated for these legendary and historical figures like Jacinto Ferro, Satake, George Gracie, Omori, etc. And here you see this Vale Tudo t-shirts. And now, good news, he ships worldwide. And not only that, there is articles on his website about these legendary figures. So head to simonbjj.com for a good read or for these t-shirts. Now, back to the video. So, Waldemar Santana was born in 1929 in the Brazilian northeastern state of Bahia. Unfortunately, there's not much about his childhood, but being from African descent, you would know that in that time he lived a lower class life with not much opportunity for education, income, or social advancement. As a youth, he demonstrated a lot of athletic capabilities and started training capoeira under Manuel dos Reis Machado. He was also known as Mestre Bimba. And in the city of Salvador, this is where Bimba taught him, and also he is credited for coming up with his own regional style of capoeira. So it is very difficult to decipher when Santana started training jiu-jitsu, but it is rumored that he started training in Salvador before even moving to South Rio. The exact date where he started training under Carlos and Elio is still unknown, but it was somewhere around 1951. Santana was 22 years old around that time. He quickly became a member of the Academy's professional team and started training alongside the best like Carlson, Pedro Emeterio, and the team's elite fighters. So he began to represent the Gracie Academy as one of the professional fighters. His first ever official fight was in February of 1953. These matches back then in the early 50s were critical for multiple reasons. Back then you had, Jiu-Jitsu or Gracie Jiu-Jitsu really, trying to make a presence in the scene. You had just old school Kodokan Judo. Even till this day, Brazil is very good in Judo. Also, you had Luta Livre, which is no-gi submission grappling for those of you who don't know. Celebrity clients and people from the government looking to learn what's the best. So it was very critical time to really market themselves and really win those challenges. And it's also a different time from the 1930s. It wasn't just the newspapers, but now you had TV, you had cameras, so everyone was watching them. So gi, no gi, Vale Tudo, the Gracie members would fight in all of them, particularly Santana. And of course, this was after Elio's loss to Kimura in 1951, so the Academy had to defend the honor, so to speak. So it was up to Carlson Gracie and of course Santana and the rest of the fight team to really perform. So this is not 100% confirmed, but it is most likely that he was able to pay off the fees and train under Carlos and Elio by performing custodial work or being a janitor at the academy, meaning cleaning the mats, washing the gis, and also sleeping there in order to really not pay rent or stave off paying too much for rent, etc. Because keep in mind, this was Rio. It wasn't like outside the outskirts of the city like what Fada was doing. So everyone had expenses. The Gracies, they wanted to provide water, electricity, and also host some of the best in society. So obviously they had fees. They weren't gonna be, just like Fada school, and of course Santana had to pay. So it is rumored that he performed work there. So I will talk about his falling out with the Gracies. So before that, I just want to say that he started to compete for them on behalf of the Academy in 1953 and 1954, participating, like I said, in sport jiu-jitsu, nogi submission grappling, and valet tudo. He did it all. Even by today's standards, someone doing it all is still considered, highly respectable, and you have to be not only in terms of recovery, but in terms of talent and sheer will, you would have to be a beast. Even Gordon Ryan is only doing one of those three. So he would excel in all of them. And in 1954, this is where the problem really started. So there was a pro wrestler who was Polish by the name of Karol Nowina, who arrived in Rio and started promoting his own events. They were mixed of fixed fights or worked fights, and of course legitimate fights. So Santana had a match under that promotion. He would fight Bastos, and he had to discuss a contract for that promotion. So Carlos and Elio gave the thumbs up, or their blessing, in order for Santana to fight, and they deemed the fight acceptable. So this is where you have 5 different scenarios as to why he left the academy or expelled from the academy. So the first one was that Santana was associated with a fixed fight promotion, and therefore he tarnished the reputation of the academy. This is not true, as you just hear me say that it took Carlos and Elio negotiation and accepting the contract, and so they knew basically what they were putting Santana in. So this idea that this promotion was associated with other fake fights, even though his fight was legitimate, in my opinion, is 100% false. The second one is Santana failed to win and embarrassed the academy. So he drew against Bastos, and thus it was an embarrassment. And again, this is not highly credible. A lot of Gracies drew in their time. Elio, like as Hiron and Henry say, if you didn't lose, then you only won. So it's about survival and how you conduct yourself in the fight. It's not about total domination, but really surviving and then getting the win. So this is not plausible as well. Number 3, there were worked fights on the show's undercard, and people might have thought that it was a fixed fight. Again, he signed the contract, they looked at it, they agreed to it, so it shouldn't have been a surprise to them. So number 4, and this is the most plausible one in those 5 reasons. So Carlos and Elio wanted to add 2 Gracie students. One was George Mehdi to the card. So Santana, but they wanted to hold off a few days because George Mehdi was not available, or the other students. But Santana agreed, and he already signed, and he already just went in, and there is even rumors that he got tickets for family members and friends, and thus putting his own needs above the academy's needs. Instead of waiting and holding out and representing the team altogether, he put the spotlight on himself and also went against the word of Carlos and Elio, and that infuriated them. And in my opinion, that's the most plausible reason why there was an expulsion or a dissociation with Santana. And number 5, and in my opinion, this one is a little bit comical. So if he was a janitor there, it is rumored that he flooded the academy with his negligence, leaving the water running and thus disrupting the class schedule. I don't think that's much of a problem. You could have easily, cut his check, made him work extra hours in cleaning the academy from water or whatever flooded the mats, etc. I don't think that's a reason enough to expel him and also go up to fight him. But I really find the reason number 4 the most plausible one, is that he put the spotlight on himself and took his needs above the needs of the academy and the team. So let's talk about a little bit about his challenges after the expulsion. So the first one would be against Elio Gracie on May 24th, 1955 at Associação Cristã de Moços in Rio. I hope I pronounced this right. So the event there was open to media. Elio was 42, 150 pounds, and Santana was 26 and weighed 170 pounds. So all the favors are stacked for Waldemar. So the referee was Alberto Latorre. The fight went to ground and pound by Waldemar. It was a very one-sided match around the 20-minute mark. So he exited the ring because he felt that it was just ground and pound, but he was convinced to return to continue the fight. He was able to take down Elio 3 times, but Elio was unable to sweep him. So thus the ground and pound continued. Around 3 hours and 10 minutes into the fight, Santana threw down Elio. It was described as a hard takedown or a guard slam. So he was basically in his guard and he was grounding and pounding him, and Elio was unable to sweep him. Keep in mind, this is 3 hours into the fight. Imagine you are still fighting 3 hours in. Again, even up to today's standards, this is just miraculous. And even credits to Elio, 42, the guy is 26, 20 pounds. He has 20 pounds on you, and you know, you're still going up against him 3 hours in. So the guard slam really stunned Elio. So Waldemar followed it up with a soccer kick to the head. So the only rules were no eye gouging and no attacking the groin. And that really knocked Elio out. And the fight is quoted to have lasted 3 hours and 45 minutes, which is insane even by today's standards. So there's even, saying it was 3.5 hours, not 3 and 45, because, referee's inspection and the introduction, etc. But still, it is remarkable. After that, it was up for Carlsen to defend the academy after that victory. So he would have a fight against Carlsen under sport jiu-jitsu rules. So it was gi grappling only, and the fight ended up in a draw. So you had that draw, and also you had the win against Elio. So that really put Waldemar in the spotlight. So they would have another one, which was on July 21st, 1956. They went under Vale Tudo rules this time, and it was again at Maracazinho. The fight was there this time. It was scheduled for 6 rounds of 10 minutes, so 1 hour fight. With 2 minutes rest between the rounds. Carlsen dominated this match, and in the 4th round, Waldemar's manager, Carlos Renato, stopped the fight. So you had 1 draw and 1 stoppage by Waldemar's manager, so you can consider it a win for Carlsen. And of course, after that, he went up against none other than Masahiko Kimura. So when he went up against Masahiko Kimura, Kimura had Takeo Yano by his side. So this really is a legendary meetup. So the first one was a sports jiu-jitsu match, and Kimura dominated the fight, winning, I believe, the 4th round with Ude Garami. So Kimura finished off, obviously, the arm lock 1 minute into the 4th round. So obviously he lasted longer than Elio, but again, Elio was older when he met Kimura, but again, here Kimura is older. It was on July 1st, 1959. So Kimura was born in 1917, so Kimura would be around 42 years old. So again, he was going up against a very young man, and yet he dominated him. Credits to Kimura. So They would have a rematch again on July 9th, 8 days later, 1959, and this one was a Ballet Judo match that occurred in Salvador. Takeo Yano was Kimura's representative. He said that Kimura's knee is injured. I don't know if to downplay him or if in case he lost, it would give legitimacy to him and keep him looking like a good fighter and give him more credit, or to, you know, garner sympathy, etc. So the fight, you know, Waldemar would strike, you know, with his capoeira background and repeatedly try to arm lock. You would have almost arm locked a few times by Kimura with his ude garami, but Waldemar was prepared this time, and Kimura supposedly had his injured knee, so Santana was striking it, and the fight would go to distance, like really long till the end, and it would be ruled as a draw. So this is really an amazing man, you know, Waldemar Santana. Really what he did with his challenges, particularly the 3.5-hour fight, but again, he was far younger, representing the Gracies before that, and fighting for them and having these matches against Carlsen. So if you have anything else to add, let me know down below. Also, please go check the links in the description below. If it's not for the t-shirts, at least for a pleasant read, head over to simonbjj.com. This was Shadi, and thank you for listening.